Hello, I'm Tom Schock with the Cleveland Power Wind Action Team. I just want to make a couple of key points. One is the fact that despite what you hear, unsubsidized wind and large-scale solar farms are the most environmentally and the most economical way to produce power. Lazard, a large investment banking company, has produced a chart. Also recently Forbes had an article in their paper, in their publication, that unsubsidized wind and solar are less expensive to produce power than even natural gas, much less than nuclear, much less than coal. And the reason for that is a couple of things. One, the technology has dropped substantially in the last 10 years. Wind has gone down by 68% and solar has dropped in price by 85%. The other thing is that once the infrastructure is in place, the solar cells are put up and the wind turbines are up, the fuel source is free. The wind and the sun, you don't pay for those. A lot of people say, well, that's not true, but if you look at it, why are all the big corporations, Amazon, Facebook, General Motors, why are they all trying to go 100% wind? The reason is because they are the most economical. They look at the long-term picture. Sure, fracking is cheap now, but who knows the environmental consequences of fracking. So I would urge the legislators to consider the economics in this situation. Right now there's a report put out by the American Wind Association. There's $4.2 billion in investment that's waiting to happen if we can just get the setback laws reformed. As I'm sure all of you know, in 2014, without any public hearings, an amendment was inserted in the budget that said we're going to move the setback back. It's always been 1,300 feet from a house, which is about a quarter mile. In the 2014 amendment, they made it 1,300 feet from a property line. And because of that, it made it much more difficult for wind farms to develop in Ohio. You can look what's happening in Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania. They've embraced wind, and it's generated a lot of income for them. Farmers particularly, they get $8,000 to $10,000 per turbine. So just from an economic standpoint, I would urge the legislatures to consider amending House Bill 6. Sure, we could have a little bit of a subsidy for a couple of years to phase out the nuclear, but let's bring back let's reform the setback laws to a reasonable level that fits with all of our neighbors so that we're competing on a level field. Let's take out the clause that says there has to be a vote for the local township. No other energy infrastructure has that. Not wells, not power plants, not utility lines, not gas lines. No one has that vote. It'll be a disaster. And if you think about it, no wind developer would seriously consider going forward with that risk hanging over their head. It's a lot of money they have to invest up front, both to do the studies to determine where the wind is, to make the agreements with all the landowners, to get all the approvals. And if you can wait until after the Ohio Power Standing Board has approved it and after it's gone to under construction even, and then say, well, we'll have a township vote. That's ridiculous, that's crazy. Townships, that is why we would like the legislators to make the big decisions. Townships should not have the authority to kill the wind farms in the area. Because what will happen, and I'm sure you know this very well, the fossil fuel industry will come in, they'll fund all sorts of propaganda campaigns, all sorts of myths and lies, and basically kill the wind farms. So again, I'm urging you legislators to take a hard look at this bill and use your common sense and do what's right for Ohio, do what's right for Ohio citizens. Thank you very much.